If you want to see a child prodigy, Sydney Smoot from Florida is a perfect example of one. She's a 9-year-old who's absolutely tired and frustrated with standardized testing. In fact, in her state, she's not even allowed to talk about standardized testing with her own mother. So as a result, she visited the school board to protest this crazy, hideous thing that students have to do, not only in the state of Florida, but throughout the entire country. Now, what does Sydney Smoot think of herself? Well, she says, I consider myself a well-educated young lady. And we have an example of that. When she went in front of the board, she said the following: this testing looks at me as a number. One test defines me as either a failure or a success through a numbered rubric. One test at the end of the year that the teacher or myself will not even see the grade until after the school year is already over. I do not feel that all this FSA testing is accurate to tell how successful I am. Now, she ended her speech with a very, very strong message. Let's take a look.
Why should we have so much stress about one test when we should be learning and having fun in school? With all this testing in school, more fun things in school, such as recess, are being eliminated because of all the training for the test. So, ladies and gentlemen in the school board, I urge you to put a stop to high-stakes testing today. It is not good for the schools, teachers, and students. Parents and students, contact your governor, put a stop to all the standardized testing. Thank you so much for your time.
Now, whether or not her speech makes any difference is still up in the air. We have no idea. But the one thing that I will say is that I absolutely love that because I can totally relate. Standardized testing is not an accurate depiction of how intelligent or skilled someone is. I did terribly in standardized testing, but I did really great in class. I excelled in almost everything that I did when I was in school. Standardized testing made me nervous. There was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of teaching to a test as opposed to teaching so people learn, and I had a huge issue with that. So I absolutely love that this little girl gets it at such a young age. I wish some of our administrators would get it as well. Kim, what do you think? Make your point.
She is absolutely right, because we forget things about fine arts, all these extracurriculars, we're just throwing out the window. Team building, critical thinking, problem solving, and in favor of learning how to take a test. I remember teachers saying, oh, we'll fill in B and C if you don't know, and we're not penalized for guessing. I don't need that in my life. I need skills.
I totally agree with you. Drew, what do you think?
Sydney Smoot, you are my idol.
She's so cute.
I wish I could have done that when I was in her age. But seriously, standardized testing is kind of like, people don't learn the same way. I feel like I was the same as you, where tests made me nervous, but I would learn when I was in class so much easier, especially when I had a good teacher or someone where I could, grasp the concept a lot instead of filling in bubbles. So it was kind of like, I wish I could have said that when I was younger, and I hope they listened to her, at least include recess too. Recess was the best part.
Recess is so
Come
important.
on.
Especially
Recess.
in this day and age when you don't have
childhood
as
obesity.
much,
Come on, we're talking about this.
Yes, childhood obesity. The lack of social interaction
Right.
because people are so connected to their technology as opposed
Correct.
to interacting with one another in person. Recess is really important.
Tag.
I think the
Play
schools
tag.
belittle it.
Kickball. Come on.
Yeah,
do the best.
exactly. Well, here's the question for this story. Have you always known what you wanted to do for your career? Kim?
Hell no. I didn't know what I was doing even midway through college. And my dad, I let him influence me. He said, oh, you should be a government worker. You should just get a stable job. And then I was just like, I don't want to do this. And then he wanted me to be a lawyer too, and I didn't do that. So no, it took me a long time.
That's interesting because it seems like you've always known what you wanted to
Nope.
do, but you were I think a lot of people are aimless for a while and then they figure out what they want to do in adulthood. What about you, Drew?
Well, I think I always wanted to be an athlete. I was an athlete growing up, so luckily I could, I did fulfill that dream of becoming a professional athlete. So but I didn't know what type of athlete. I didn't know, because I played so many sports growing up. It wasn't like I just want to be a football player. I just knew I wanted to do something great in athletics, and I fulfilled that. But I also knew I wanted to, help people and, really just, breed some happiness to people. So that's what I'm doing now with hosting and just entertainment. I just love being around people. So
Yeah.
second dream, I guess.
All right, great. That's great. When I was younger, I wanted to be an actress, and I remember my mom was cool with it. She got me an agent, and I'd go on auditions, and then I got a call back for a really great role. And then she realized that being an actress meant that I'd have to be sexual with some of my, co-stars or whatever. And then she's like, no, you're not going to be an actress. So as a result, you have to think of something else. And it's weird because, journalism or media was a no-brainer after that. She gave me a list of things that I could possibly do. And I was like, I want to do that. I want to talk to interesting people and interview them. And yeah, so I knew what I wanted to do from a pretty young age. And knowing that lets you work towards it earlier. But a lot of people don't know until they're older, and that's totally fine. What about you guys? Did you know what you wanted to do for a career from a young age? Are you still kind of experimenting and exploring? We want to hear your stories in the section below. And also, what do you think about the story that we just did? Do you think this 9-year-old is right? What are your experiences with standardized tests? Comment below, and we'll see you soon.